What is going on, Cigar Club family? Welcome to another episode on the Cigar Club Podcast. I am your host, Dave Ember, and joining me today is David Pugh, Producer Pugh.
Producer Pugh in the house again.
The Palette Prince is back. We're in Mobile. We're sitting up here on the balcony. The rain is holding off.
It's gorgeous out right now, but it's coming. It's coming later today.
It will be here soon. I can feel it. And of course, joining us for our first ever interview on the podcast, the man, the myth, the legend, the basketball sensation, the NASA superstar, and one of the greatest cigar blenders of all time, Omar De Frias, Fratello Cigars. Welcome to the show,
You're
Omar.
too nice. You're too nice. You know, an introduction like that, I'm going to have to hire you full time to just be with me on the road and just introducing me everywhere I go. So we go into a retail shop. we go into a retail shop and you say, ladies and gentlemen, you know, like that's the kind of like feel I want to go in. If I
the Dominican mailman.
It makes a great hype man. Just have him come around with you and just narrate everything you do.
I love it. Thank you guys for having me over, man. This is all. I can't wait to have a quick conversation with you guys, see how everything has been.
Yeah, absolutely. And Omar, I think it's been 3 weeks since we were in the DR together. Back
time.
Regulating to normal life. I'm smoking some blends from that trip, which we'll dive into in a little bit.
Yeah.
But just want to extend a great, just a big welcome and a thank you for making some time for us.
Yes, thank you.
I know Pew and myself have been going back and forth on all these questions that we have for different brand owners and, all the stuff everybody wants to know. So we'll do a little Q&A action. We want to hear your story. We want to get into some new projects you're doing. We'll talk about some projects we're working on. But let's just hang out, have a good time, and it's going to be a good show. I'm looking forward to it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I want to know, Dave, what are you smoking? And then I'll tell what I'm smoking.
Thank you, Pew, for always keeping us on task. I am smoking an undisclosed blend that I can say has a Pennsylvania broadleaf wrapper on it. Can we see it? There it is. If you can believe that's a Pennsylvania broadleaf, which I'll let Omar talk on in just a second, Pew, once you drop what you're smoking. But this is one of the blends and samples that came back with me from my time in the Dominican with Omar and our time spent at La Aurora. And this is actually my first time smoking it since we were there. So now that's had some time to sit and age. So yeah, we're getting into it. What about you, Pew?
Notice he's smoking that one and did not offer that to me. I'm just saying. This morning,
Dave, let's share the love. Let's share the love.
That's what I'm saying.
Listen, I had two.
There we go. That's a good point.
I'm not worthy yet, is what I just heard. This morning, I grabbed the Fratello Oro. David, you know what size this was? I didn't even look. I just literally grabbed
Corona.
it. Yeah, I think so. If I'm correct, Ecuadorian Connecticut, African Cameroon binder, and Dominican Nicaraguan filler. First time smoking the Oro. Okay, excellent. We got the man himself. We get all the questions, all the correct and incorrect fixed. First time smoking this one, so really looking forward to it. I got a cup of coffee sitting next to me as well, and I think it's going to go perfect.
Beautiful. Omar, you're not smoking right now, but if you were smoking at 10 a.m. in your office, what would it be?
So it'd be the Classico right now. It would be either the Classico or the New Arlequin, which I've been in love with. When we're talking about two cigars that sort of hit my palate to perfection, it's like all of my cigars are like, our cigars are like children, right? I mean, you just love them all equally, right? But when there's something in the morning that it's that one kid that just jumps into bed and gives you like a gigantic hug, you know what I mean? For all the parents out there that know a little bit of what I'm talking about, it is this extra special, extra special kid, right? And so that's the Classico Corona for me. I love that in a Vitola of the Corona and the Boxer, and I love it as well. I love the Arlequin, which is my newest line. That's one that we've been doing, killer business with. And, lately, obviously, it's been, this bad boy right here, which I've been, loving and adoring like crazy. It's that beautiful Perfecto shape. Dave knows this very well.
My favorite.
Very well. So that's what's going to happen in about an hour and a half or so, because it's going to be on.
Dude, when I smoke, and I talked about it actually, I think on our first or second podcast.
Yeah, he did.
I went into grave detail about that cigar.
Yeah,
that was one of the most amazing experiences in cigars for me was sitting at Camp David in the Dominican Republic. Me and Omar were grabbing dinner up like however many hundreds of feet in the air on this mountaintop. That makes you nauseous as you drive up it, or as you have a NASCAR racer driving up to.
I heard that.
I had damn Jeff Gordon here rolling us up, and but we're sitting there overlooking all of Santiago, and they bring out our food and Presidente, and we're eating and we're drinking, and Omar hands me the Clásico Perfecto that I'd never seen before. We light it up, smoking it, and it was just one of the most incredible cigars I've ever had. And I don't just say that lightly because Omar's here. I say that because it just blew my mind. It was the profile I love, rich red cinnamon, big bold flavors, balanced. And then I was eating this like coconut rice pilaf situation, and it was just like the perfect food pairing. Yeah. And I'd never been able to pair food and cigars before that moment 3 weeks ago. And there it was with the imperfect pairing legend over here himself.
Which we love to do.
It blew my mind. So anyway, that was a great experience. And Omar, you're like the king of pairings. And I know we're both like really curious. How did that, you've got this YouTube channel on Perfect Pairings. You don't just pair bourbon or wine. You pair foods, you pair Mama Juana. Yeah, I mean, everything. How did that start? And how did you develop that love for like making cigars and other things merry?
Yeah, so for me, it was about, I'm all about always challenging my palate, right? I mean, one of the things that I struggle with the most is like, I hate the status quo. I want to challenge, different pairings. I want to challenge my palate with things that go, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, all the way to my, high acidity, low acidity. I just want to challenge my palate in every possible way I can, because I consider it training, right? I'm training my taste buds, and I'm training myself to understand certain things, when it hits my palate, when it doesn't, how it adds flavor, how it doesn't. And so that's what the show is all about. And Perfect Pairings is about us showing people in the cigar community and outside of the cigar community, because it's an all-inclusive, like one catch-all kind of show. I happen to be smoking cigars, pairing my food and my drinks and whatnot. You can do this with wine and food. You can do this with scotch and food. You can do this with anything. And so the cigar community has always been very very entrenched into mostly, how do you like? It's one of the questions I get the most. What do you like to pair with your cigars? And I'm like, it's like, because of that question, Imperfect Pairings was born. And so I've gone everything from Chacoli, which is a mixture of Coca-Cola and wine, which I encourage people to do often, but it actually works on cigars. And it's
Coca-Cola and wine.
Coca-Cola and wine and ice.
Yeah,
okay?
It's a classic. It's a classic drink.
It's a classic drink, right? I mean, in the north of Spain, it's very popular.
Yep, very much so.
And so after that, I mean, I paired it with oysters as well, and I tried oysters and cigars. Definitely don't do that again. But maybe
you try
it with the Chacoli. You gotta give it a try, because you never know.
We appreciate people like you that will try that.
Yep.
Thank God for Omar, else we'd all be eating oysters and cigars.
That almost answers
you go
my
to
question.
Miami, you can try Tostón Burger with a cigar, and that's how you know what I mean? It's the kind of stuff you can challenge yourself with. So it's very fun.
Is the oyster pairing your worst pairing? Like, has there been one where you're just like, this is absolutely awful, and I can't believe I tried it?
So the oysters was very rough, man. It was the saltiness. I love oysters, and I mean, I'm telling you, I love oysters. I love oysters, right? But I will be honest, when I tried like salami, like Dominican salami, mixed with mango plantains, which is basically mashed plantains at the Dominican Republic, and I put some eggs into the whole mix. That was not great. Now the plantains by itself, yes. That dish is called Los Tres Golpes in Dominican Republic, and they put Los Cuatro Golpes as well, which is basically, Dave tried it. It's basically mashed plantains with eggs, fried cheese, and salami, right? traditional as it gets in the Dominican Republic. And each of them
That's
obviously
pretty
have
nice.
their own flavors. When
I'm
you
hungry
mix them
now.
all together, it's fantastic. When you mix them all together and then I smoke a cigar at the exact same time, maybe not great because of the egg, but
Yeah.
if you eat the proteins individually and smoke a cigar, it actually works. So it's the kind of stuff.
Interesting.
It's the kind of stuff that just works out pretty good.
Yeah, there's spicy food I can't pair with a cigar. It just
Yeah,
always takes it too far in one direction, and even a full-bodied heavy cigar, I still can't. It just won't match the absolutely crazy hot sauce that I enjoy.
yeah, yeah.
The for me, I've watched so many of those pairings videos, and then to be a part of one this past month in DR where we were pairing the legendary Dominican drink Mama Juana, which
That's
is
right.
rum and tree bark and roots and all these like wild things. We got Manuel Iona's personal stash of it,
Yes, that was
and
special.
that was a
looked
special
crazy.
moment. Omar,
Uh,
can you explain a little more about Mama Juana? Because I don't think I did it justice.
Absolutely,
But there was
absolutely.
that, and plus that moment with him and you was just really special.
And then add years of this drink being curated, add years of this drink having something as special as um, what do you call this? Have the whole experience with Manuelino, obviously, blending into the whole process was just incredible, right? But primarily, it's really about like so Mama Juana is basically a combination of like, tree barks, roots, things that you can find in different areas in the Dominican Republic that obviously once you curate with alcohol, it extracts a lot of that flavor out. And then basically once you go through the process of the curating and then the refill action is just incredible, right? So Manuel and his family have been doing, there's, it's just this bottle keeps on going down this recipe of it's basically Dominican moonshine, right? It keeps on going down on the different like his children are gonna get, the recipe on how to do this the right way for the palette of what they have enjoyed every year, usually during the Christmas time or special occasions or just after working your ass off on a week and you're getting just a Friday off. So Manuel was kind enough to bring this Mama Juana from his house, his family's recipe as well, because every single Mama Juana is not the same. You can curate it with different with different wines as well. Like you try to put in a particular wine. Like the first thing you have to do is to put rum into it, and then just let that rum just sort of get a lot of that starch off of the roots, and then you pour it out. You do it again, and then you pour it out. Then you have to put wine into it so that wine can impregnate a little bit of its flavors and its colors. And that's why you see that color coming out of that Mama Juana drink being that sort of amberish looking color that is so delicious. And obviously, Dave, you can speak into the flavor of this bad boy and maybe some of the benefits when you got home. Maybe some of the benefits when you
Yeah,
got home.
that you read my mind, Omar. Is it medicinal? Because I never heard of Mama Juana until I saw the video.
It's kind of medicinal.
I mean, the tree bark in it, the root. I gotta know.
It depends on your diagnosis. Omar, I'll let you break it to him.
Yeah, so
Or introduce it to him.
it definitely has its male enhancements qualities to it. So so if you are ever so if you're ever in the Dominican Republic and you go down there with your girlfriend or your wife or significant other,
Oysters and Mama Juana.
that would be a very powerful combination. Very
That would
powerful
do
combination.
So, and some people give like sourdough starters as a generational gift. It's Mama Juana in the DR.
Oh yeah,
Exactly. That's the way to go.
yeah. That was great, and the I really actually also enjoy the taste of Mama Juana. I could sit there and drink it. It's cinnamony, which everybody knows I love, and it's sweet and it's a little spicy. It's incredible. It was truly that was an experience to have that generational Mama Juana come in, drink it, smoke it with you guys. It was amazing.
I mean, that bottle looked 60 years old as in it as itself.
Yeah. That was Johnny Walker Black Label like 30, 40 years ago.
Yes.
But it was great. It was great. Omar, I know this story, and I know a lot about you and Fratello just from the time we spent together, but a lot of people don't. And you have one of the most fascinating stories in this industry, from your back, where you were born, where you grew up, to where you ended up in a career, and then how Fratello started. Can you give us a little bit of insight into that, how that all happened, and how you kind of fell into cigars?
Absolutely.
I'm sure you've never told this story before, so
first time here on our podcast.
Whoever hasn't heard it, man, I mean, it's always new to them, right? It's like what cigars you haven't tried? What haven't you smoked out of the line, right? I mean, I would say like the question of what's new is like, well, what's new to you, or what's new to him, may be different to what's new to somebody else. But I used to. That's what you probably see, like my little logo in the back. I have like a transition of like the NASA logo to like the Fratello logo, right? Like from space to smoke, right?
The progression.
Space to smoke.
I like it. God, that's a good tagline.
That's right. And so what we did a lot of, I basically worked for NASA for about 12 years. I was hired at the University of Puerto Rico after finishing my MBA there to come work for NASA in 2004. I came in as a management and program analyst. I was doing a lot of analysis on budget and programs and whatnot. And that's what I developed my career on, was working a lot on, program and project management for NASA, for this chief information officer. I did it at the human resources level, diversity and equal opportunity level, and then at science mission director level, where I was, in charge of a $5 billion budget for NASA, the execution of that budget for the agency, and it was awesome. I loved every part of the mission for NASA. I loved every part of what NASA stands for and the noble mission that it has. But I fell into cigars because I am from the Dominican Republic originally, so we are cigar country. It's a very important part of our lives, and I grew up with my grandpa, seeing him smoke cigars. There was a retail shop that was right around the corner from my house, and so I was always surrounded by the smell, the aromas. I was floored by how incredible somebody could put in a whole bunch of dry leaves together into a beautiful cylinder format, and then people would smoke it and it has flavor. And I'm like, what is going on, right? It's like a different version of like a different fermentation version of Mama Juana. You know what I mean?
Smokable Mama Juana.
Exactly. Yeah. See, Dave, every single time you and I talk, man, it's always something.
Hey, we're all something always comes.
Always happens. It always happens. That's actually pretty interesting.
Always.
But it is very special. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the things that to me was very special, to see my grandpa smoke close to my house, and my mom telling him, "Hey, Omar, why don't you take a little sip of rum for your grandpa smoking a cigar?" That kind of stuff was special. And so I fell into it because I started working. I'm trying to do something a little bit on the side that could get me more connected to my personal roots, which is the Dominican Republic, and obviously the cigar smoking, which I've been doing since I was 17 years old. And long story short, man, I worked for NASA while owning my own cigar brand for about 3.5 years, where I was very happy to, announce in 2016 that I would be moving on and doing cigars full time. So I quit my NASA job, decided to just go in full throttle, and here we are.
Yeah, one of the things that I saw, I think you said that the budget that you were overseeing was like 10% of the world's space budget, or the U.S. budget. I thought that's incredible.
The science done in the entire world.
That's
crazy. That budget accounts for 10% of all the science done in the world. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's not just the fact that we're doing X, Y, Z, right? It's that we have what we call like the spider web of science, right? Like NASA has a role in, the science that this guy in Switzerland is working on, right? But this guy in Switzerland needs the work that NASA did on the, on the probe that just landed in Mars, for example, or the optics, or the things that happen with the impact and the information and the gathering that we got when you struck an asteroid with a bullet. You know what I mean? Which is basically what we did. And so what were the gases? And so that guy needs a little bit of that information. The guy in Norway that is working on heliophysics new project on how the sun continues to affect human lives. How does that guy have, the information that he would need? He would go to NASA for, XYZ and that kind of stuff. So it was the spider web. And so a lot of people don't know, but $5 billion goes a long way in terms of science. And that's what NASA does, research and development.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing like being the poor soul that has to sell Omar a car when he walks into a dealership and work with this negotiating mastermind. Get me the hell out of that place is what I'm saying.
I worked with 10% of the world's space budget. What can you do for me?
I think we can do better. I think we can do better on that price. I just in my head just tallied up the actual cost on this car, tire, importing the rubber, putting together the steel, your factory based in Germany. You can come down 8%.
That's
Wow.
right. That's right. That was brilliant.
I do want to know, how will your time and experience at NASA? How did that help shape Fratello as both a brand and a company?
Yeah, so I will tell you, I mean, nothing can help you, and I've come to realize this after 8 years of doing Fratello, right? Nothing can prepare you for entrepreneurship. It doesn't work like that. It's just, there's so much, man. There's the human resource aspect of it, right? Like it's like at NASA, you are trained and you are the your leadership skills and your skills are developed so that you can become the best at this, right? So we have the best person we have the number one guy for everything doing with plastic. There's nobody else better than that guy at NASA that does everything to the dot of what has to deal with plastic. Wow. Or with metal or with plutonium and stuff like this, right? Like these guys know so much about this, right? So when I was getting trained in program and project management, right? I wasn't getting trained in human resources. I wasn't, which is what all businesses deal, right? I wasn't getting trained in human resources. I wasn't getting trained in like diversity and equal opportunity. I wasn't getting trained in like the development and the agricultural aspect of tobacco. I wasn't getting trained in all of these different facets of what running a business is all about, right? And so I'm having to pull things from NASA to answer your question that pertain to my business, right? So a lot of people ask me, Omar, how's your supply chain? There's a lot of problems with getting tobacco, stuff, that kind of stuff. It's like, supply chain is what I do. You know what I mean? This is program and project management is what I do. So in that
That's my wheelhouse.
I'm pretty solid, right? But do I have challenges like any other small business? Does 100%. Usually when it comes to math, I'm pretty good at it. I'm maybe not the best negotiator when it comes to buying a car, but who knows? Maybe I can be. Maybe with the support of Dave.
BS on that.
So,
and also a quick pause. Look at the ash on this, man.
Look at that beautiful thing.
That is gorgeous.
Oh my God.
I harped on that last week. I love a white ash. It just visually brings me more into the moment.
I love
this
it.
Tuckers.
I love
This
it.
is quite the first cigar of the morning. This Pennsylvania broadleaf.
That's starting the day off right.
That's starting the day off
the other
something.
day, man, and I thought it was smoking amazing after just like 2 weeks of like resting.
Right, and that's what I'm kind of amazed at. I'm like, this is 2 weeks, maybe 3 tops, because they made them like a couple days before we got there.
Yeah,
and it's already a profile is coming into it, and that's like so interesting to me. The development of like when tobaccos age and sit with each other, how that changes the profile of the cigar with time. Do you like when you're blending cigars? I'm assuming when you're coming up with a new blend, you can't just like have working with the rollers and blenders at the factory, and then you're like, yeah, this is it. It's been there for like a day, right? And then 3 weeks later, you're probably like, this is totally different. Maybe it's totally different in a good way, or maybe it's totally different in what happened to my cigar. What is that process like the timeline of that? Because that cigar could totally change in 3 months. How do you know if it's going to be good early on?
Right.
What do you look for?
So, you're 100% right. I mean, it's very hard for you to basically pick up on the subtle notes of a cigar that's literally just been rolled, right? I mean, it's just, there's too much water, there's too much humidity. You might be able, it might not even be smokable right at that point, right? Because what we do is before we roll cigars, you have to aerate the leaves with water and air, right? So there's a guy just spraying a whole bunch of, you saw this whole process, Dave, just a whole bunch of water, and it's just rehydrating those leaves that have been aging for 2, 3, 4 years, in some cases 10, in some cases 5, 6, right? And it's bringing them back to life, right? But when they're rolling the cigar so that the leaves don't break in the process, right? That's when you just let them sit for maybe a day or two or something like that, just so that you can smoke it and see what it's all about. What I personally like to look for is just I don't want my mouth and my palate to feel too much tart, for lack of a better word, right? So it's like just covering my palate. I'm not looking for something that covers my palate and doesn't let me experience anything else. So that's exactly what those two cigars did for us. It didn't cover our palates, and then we could experience some very drastic like pepper notes. If you're experiencing pepper notes on a cigar that young and that just like that fresh, not young but fresh, then that's a sign that there's going to be something else that's going to develop out of that pepper. It could be more of a subtle pepper. It could be more of a long-lasting, hitting you in your face pepper. And then there's that sweetness, right? I mean, are we looking, does it have the potential of having greater sweetness, right? And so that's why if you let it rest for then 3 to 6 weeks, all of those flavors start coming alive, right? Because a lot of those flavors were, brought down by the water and the humidity in the Dominican Republic after just being fresh rolled.
Wow. Yeah. I mean that's the part to me that is just so mind blowing. Like my little experience of being in some factories and getting lots of sample blends in to smoke and watch how they progress. I'm just like so many people that I've been fortunate enough to watch their process and work alongside of them, like yourself, Omar. You guys will say things like that at the factory. I remember when we were smoking the Connecticut broadleaf blend, and you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be XYZ. And I smoked it a couple days ago, and I'm like, oh, there's like a couple of the key things Omar talked about that were non-existent in that cigar 3 weeks ago in the Dominican Republic. And it's just like mind blowing to me. And
it's crazy.
I mean, my guess is like that must just happen with time and smoking a lot of cigars and being in tune with the process and being at the factories and you're just training your palate. Like, is there any other, like, there's no shortcut for that, is there?
Nope. It's time, guys. It's time. It's process. It's good tobacco, and it's blending. That's it. Yeah. I mean, you can try and cook an amazing, chicken masala, but if you're, if the tomatoes you're getting or the breading you're using or the, some of the ingredients are just not there. Come on, how can it be any good?
We good?
Oh,
we're good.
Hold on, we lost you for a second, Omar. I think you're back.
I think we're back.
Oh, wait.
Nope.
Can't hear you.
Well, as he comes back, that reminds me a lot of just distilling, right? Like, so
wow. Yeah.
A master blender in a distillery is putting unaged whiskey in a barrel that's going to sit for 5, 10, 12, 15, 30 years. No idea what it tastes like. And they just know, hey, we're going to put it here in this rick house, and we know that it's going to be, perfect. It may not be. I mean, imagine a new blend too, right? If you're putting a new whiskey blend together and you're going to put a part of the warehouse and you're going to try it every 2, 4, 5 months and something that's going to sit for 10 years. It may not be as good as you wanted it to at the end of those 10 years.
And just like that, he's back.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, it's all right.
Welcome back.
All of a sudden, apparently, a phone does not like, the picture of a phone coming. Okay, just know that.
But you did a great job filibustering.
Hey, I had it lined up to talk about, so it was a perfect entry. I was saying that, it reminds me of like a master distiller at a whiskey or bourbon. They're putting something away that tastes absolutely nothing like the final product, and they may not, see that final product for 12 years. And just knowing like, here's the good ingredients that we put in. I know what it tastes like young, and then I'll come back to it every 2, 6, 12 months, however would it be, and follow that progression. I think that's absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, and Omar, how does that translate? I know you've got some beer in the works that you're releasing some IPAs, some lagers.
Dave's
brown
stealing my
ales.
questions over here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even see that. I didn't
even have it written down. I was just, it was off the cuff.
Unbelievable. You know what? It's just good to be here on the same balcony as you.
It is.
But Omar, how does that? You have such a discerning palate. You're a big foodie. You're into like all the beverages of the world, all the vices of the world. How does what you've done in cigars translate to beer? Is it a passion project? Are you looking for more pairings, or are you really interested in trying to bring types of beer or methods to beer that have never been done before? What's your goal with the beer?
Right. So the beer was a project that fell on my lap. I wasn't looking for it. I've never been this huge fanatic for trying different beers and different things. I'm a child of the Dominican Republic and obviously of Presidente beer. So this is what the beer that I've been drinking.
He won't stop talking about El Presidente.
Great part of my life, right? I mean, it's so good. Wasn't that vestida de novia beautiful?
How about the fact that I don't think they serve water in the Dominican Republic. I'm not even kidding. I don't think I saw a glass of water on the table the 4 days I was there. And within landing, tires hitting the ground of the airplane, within 10 minutes, I had a Presidente in my hand.
Here's your Presidente.
And it didn't leave until I got back on the damn plane to go home.
We had to stop. We had to make those Presidente pit stops. You know what I mean, Dave? I mean,
Presidente pit stops.
You had to take it for the team.
It was brutal. Somebody's got to do it.
Yep, that's right. That's right. No, the beer was a very interesting project, man, because as much as I've seen the craft industry, the craft beer industry, grow just like to heights that I think are fascinating with the innovation that has been done. One of those craft beers local to Virginia, Agro Theory, they've done. I've been a fan of their styles. They've done a great job with their styles. And one time I saw an Instagram post, somebody saying, "Hey, guys at Agro think that I should pair this beer with Fratello Boxer, see what it's all about." And I'm like, that's cool. I mean, maybe somebody told them at the brewery, "Hey, you should try this with the Fratello." And then I was like, let me just go look for it in my Total Wine stores. So I went to Total Wine. I got the bottle. I said, "Where's this particular, demon-looking bottle?" Because they got a very dark, branding behind it. It's like, where I can find the demon? It's like, "Oh, you're looking for X, Y, Z." It's like, yeah. It's like, so you need to go look for it over here. So I go get the bottle, and I see the bottle. It's like, "Oh, that's interesting." Russian Imperial Star, and I turn the bottle, and it says, "Perfect cigar pairing, the Fratello Boxer."
Ooh. No, already on the label.
Lord, I fell back. I'm like,
what?
Oh my God, this is 2014. I'm thinking, I made it. I'm like,
this is 2014. That's pre you leaving NASA. You've been doing this for like a year.
Leaving NASA.
And you walk into a Total Wine and your cigar brand and a specific cigar is on the back of someone's beer.
In the back of someone's beer.
Wow.
Like,
that had to be an experience.
The coolest fucking guy I've ever assisted ever in the world. So I'm calling my son. I'm getting high fives like, "Daddy made it! Boom! Yeah. What you think, huh?
You've made it at that point.
Like the man, So
I didn't make it when I was running a $5 billion budget for NASA. I made it when my logo was on the back of a beer can in Total Wine.
Exactly. So then I told the guys, like,
I love that.
"All right, I'm gonna take everything here, and I'm gonna take everything you had in the back, and I'm just taking it all. Just give it to me." And then after I left, I was like, "Well, how dumb that was." Now I got all this beer, and no one ever, not a lot of people are going to get to try the beer that has my cigar
took it
brand
all.
on it. So I'm like, but that's okay.
Just killed this marketing campaign, yeah.
Whoops. I drank it all, but it was cool because it was a hell of a pairing. So after that, I reached out to them and said, "Hey, have you ever thought about doing like a collaboration with us?" And we worked on it for quite a few years. We actually did our own small batches where we would try a Hazy Ipa, which I'm a huge fan of. Beautiful double IPAs with the Fratello Oro and stuff like that. All of a sudden, people just started to connect with it. We launched our first Hazy IPA last year, and it was a complete success. And now we're going full throttle this year with 3 new releases. And so it's a project that fell on my lap, but it was a project made out of pure hardcore, just pairing, just getting that balance, just looking for the balance of the beer and the cigars, and it worked out pretty good.
Oh, you said a juicy IPA, Hazy IPA with this Oro would be incredible
It is, man. It is because it's not overly bitter. It's got that bitterness imbalance. We have the fruit imbalance. You don't want it to be overly fruity either, because a lot of that pineapple, a lot of that citrus sometimes can be overwhelming on someone's palate. So if those things can be tempered down, but still give you that hazy flavor, right? Plus, then you add a cigar to it, that cigar smoke to combine, it was powerful. So I expect to see some of that in about a month or so.
Ooh, that's going to be wonderful. Yeah, the way that I look for pairing is try to, if something's on one side of the spectrum, I'll see if I can pull something to the other side and get more of a balance in that, whether it be balancing the wine or beer or balancing the cigar with a pairing. And that sounds absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
A lot of balancing talk going on over here. What's that about?
We'll teach you, Dave. You hang out with me and Omar. We'll get you. We'll get you one.
It's fun. I mean, I called Omar when we were in Dominican Republic the balance king, because I think that's just what he does so well with all of his cigars. Yeah. If I could find like a common thread amongst the Fratello lineup, it's balance. Like, you're never going to get something that's so overpowering that you have to put it down because the strength is through the roof and the pepper. Yeah. You're never going to get something that's so mild that you're like just smoking it to smoke it. Yeah. There's this balancing act that happens with all of your cigars that I think is unique to Fratello. And I think it's part of your secret zing that you add to every single cigar that you do.
Yeah, I completely agree. You're right. You're 100% right. It's the base of my business, man. If I cannot find balance in something, it doesn't have to. It could be. It's food. It's drinks. It's overly peaty scotches, or if the peat is in balance, then I'll enjoy it. If not, I will not. I mean, it's all about the different flavors,
Yeah, would you say? I mean, Dave hit the nail on the head with the balance being kind of like this overarching theme. Would you say, for anyone who hasn't smoked Fratello cigars or maybe isn't as familiar with Fratello cigars as they are with other brands, how would you describe the profile, or kind of is there a describable profile or taste that you look for in kind of like an overarching theme of Fratello as your current blends, and then as you go to blend new cigars for the future?
Right. So there is every single cigar has a different story, right? So it's just it really does come down to what is your palate more inclined to do, right? So if your palate is more into like pepper bombs, we're not your company. We're just not, right? Because that's not the kind of smoker I am, right? But if your palate is more into experiencing multiple notes, right, during the entire smoking experience, then we are your company, right? If you want to experience some sweetness, if you want to experience, slight pepper and different tones of pepper, it could be white pepper, red pepper, it could be very black, the very black, dark, tarty pepper, which we also have that kind of stuff. If you like cigars that have, some earthiness and that has a lot of barrel, then the Bianco is your guy, right? If you like cigars that have a lot of cinnamon nuance with the up and down pepper and sweetness, Dave, the Clásico is your brand. The Fratello Arlequin is your brand for that kind of stuff, right? And so I can't stress it enough, man. I think Arlequin is seriously it's one of the best releases of last year, hands down, for people that have tried that cigar and have paid attention to that blend. Period in a story, that cigar is incredible to me and to my palate, right?
And
but I think
for
it's
us,
one of those situations that it just works well.
No, absolutely. And for us, when we had that opportunity to help launch Arlequin to our members before it went anywhere else, we were like, well, this is amazing. This is an honor and a privilege. And then we got the feedback in, and they went online and were rating the cigars, and it was 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. Yeah. And the feedback was, this is just, when people smoke Nicaraguan tobacco, or when you talk about the profile of by generalizing it, so a very broad profile of Nicaraguan tobacco, if you will, I think of Arlequin. It's like, it has all of that. It's rich, it's got spice, it's got body, it's got character, it's like zesty it's just like everything that I think of when I think of a very classic Nicaraguan cigar. And the box press of it, everything, the smoking experience is delicious. Yeah. And I think we smoked that when we did our interview at La Aurora a few weeks back. We were both smoking that cigar, and I was just reminded, like, because we've been smoking so much Dominican tobacco that whole week, and I lit up Arlequin, and I'm like, oh, bring me that Nicaraguan tobacco. I'm like, this is such a classic profile that people just want, and it's a great price point. It's like a $9 cigar, right, retail, and it's like, what? So many times I reach for that cigar. Because it can pair with so many things. It can be just an enjoyable afternoon smoke or a post-dinner smoke. It can be the first smoke of the day. I love Arlequin, and our members have loved it as well, which is really exciting. Yeah. Thank you for that cigar, Omar.
Hey, listen, if I can continue to pump out cigars like this, I will swear to God, like this is a cigar that all we did was box press it, right? Like, but you have to modify the Liga to box press a cigar, right? We've talked about this many times. I cannot just box press a cigar, just a box press. I got to loosen up the blend, and the way you loosen up the blend is where you get to those flavors, right? It can be the exact same cigar. All you have to do is press it, an entirely different cigar. What I find fascinating out of this whole situation is that cigar was out on the road for about a year and a half before through a fresh pack that we do, and the intent was, give me the two favorite out of the blends. Give me the two cigars that you enjoy the most. And people talk, man. People are like, I love that Arlequin in the U.S. and primarily the Sorella was very popular overseas. So what I ended up finding out was, let me just launch the Sorella overseas. Let me launch the Fratello Arlequin here local to the U.S. And then I decided to box press it. And when I box pressed it, I said, let me see how the flavor profile changes. It was such a great discovery.
What happened? What did it go from? What was the profile shift from non-box press to box press? I'm really curious.
Oh my God, the cream! It's just when people hear me talk about cream, it really comes down to the feeling after you eat tres leches or like you're eating flan, right? And you swallow, right, and then you're done, but it sort of lingers. There's like this part that covers your mouth, and it's no longer the sweet, right? You experience the sweet already in the tip of your tongue. It's just, it covers your palate with the cream of those two dishes. Is the best way I can describe Arlequin. It just lingers there, man.
That's beautiful. And I want to give an update to anyone watching this on YouTube. I have probably one of the tiniest nubs. I mean, incredible construction, great smoke output, even with whatever half an inch that I have left here. It's been a while since I've nubbed a cigar this much.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is impressive. The one other thing I wanted to note to that cream, Omar, is it's Mexican San Andres is the wrapper on that, right? On Arlequin?
Yes.
And that wrapper a lot of times gives me this really cool, like bitter dark chocolate kind of vibe.
Yeah.
But you pair that with the cream, and it's like this.
It's like hot cocoa.
It's not overly sweet. It still has a good like bitterness that you just want to keep coming back to, and then the pepper comes in, and then the mouthfeel is creamy. That is, it's like the like light bulb has gone on over my head because I was like trying to figure out what is that thing with Arlequin that I just really go to on the profile, and I think it is that mouthfeel. It's when you exhale the smoke, and it's just sweet, creamy, just nice. Doesn't leave spice. It doesn't leave like a smoky campfire aftertaste. It's a clean cream. It's really, really fascinating that you can get that profile out of a cigar. Yeah.
Yep.
It really is an impressive cigar. And I'll say the one other cigar that also stands out in my mind. We shipped out Navetta Inversa and Corona Gorda last year at some point. And the first time I smoked that cigar, I remember smoking it, getting through like the first third and being like, I am literally smoking a s'more. It's marshmallows and chocolate, and you smoke cigars sometimes throughout whatever life, and there's ones you love, there's ones you don't like, and then there's ones that change your perception on what you can taste in a cigar. That cigar from all of the Fratello lineups is the cigar that changed my perception on what a cigar can taste like. There they are, right there.
There it is.
It is a s'more. That is what that cigar is to me. And I just love Pew. I don't know if you've smoked that one.
I have, and that's a really great way to describe it.
That's one of the best ways I've heard of description of this cigar. And I actually, here's what's so like, I'm like nodding my head. I was like, I cannot believe you literally just described it like that, because a guy in Germany literally said the exact same thing you did. I was like, what the hell is going on? He's like, Omar, it's like I'm in a bonfire. Omar. It's like I'm in a bonfire. It has got like a toast and like a marshmallow and crackers and then put it in and I eat it. It's just so good. It's so good. So I'm like, man, this is the American version of the whole description. It is to the dot that cigar.
Yeah, there's something special about being able to just transport yourself with any experience. But I do have a question here, and this is one that I always ask, and it's probably one of my favorite questions. So I'm a huge believer in always be learning, right? So always challenge yourself or trying to learn something new. Is there something that you're trying to currently learn or challenge yourself on, whether that be within the Fratello or just personal itself?
Yeah. I'm always trying to get into more in depth into the different tobaccos, right? Like and understanding more soil and development, right? Like the effect of when you turn the terrain over to see and refresh it and bring in more nutrients to that soil, what the effect of certain chemicals or certain or certain proteins that you add to the soil so that it brings a different crop, a more powerful crop, one that can sustain more blue mold or some of these diseases that unfortunately affect tobaccos, right? Like any other industry, any other agricultural industry. I'm fascinated by it. I want to dive in more into the science aspect of cultivating tobacco and seeing how more water or less water or a drier season versus a more rainy season can affect tobaccos, right? We know that if it's been raining a lot, then obviously plants are always going to be a little higher because they're going to try and grow and try to get to that sun, try to open up a little bit more. Like these are some basic things, right? Like we get taught these things in elementary school, but when we're talking about the effects of the soil, the iron in the soil, how does that have an effect to the ash of a cigar or the different just understanding that and seeing it from very beginning to end. And it takes years for that. I mean, I literally would have to move to the Dominican Republic just to see the beginning to end of every particular season. But it's not that I'm going to move, it's that I'm going to begin, as things start opening back up, continue with understanding the soil aspect of it and how does it get to the end result. That's where I want to learn the most.
Yeah, that's incredible. And a lot of crossover with like the wine world in that one, how the terroir affects the grapes and the soil and everything like that. Definitely really cool. And I imagine that takes years to learn and you find a master and just sit there and listen.
Yeah. What are you learning this year? Soil. That's a true blender right there, folks. That's a master.
Absolutely.
Getting down to the dirt, the nitty gritty of it.
Right.
Dedication to the craft.
You can taste it in the final product when people like you, Omar, are that dedicated to learning more and pushing boundaries and developing the profiles of your cigars. And for us as a club that ships a lot of Fratello, that's a really amazing thing for us to be able to experience with you and hear that from you and be able to share that with our members as well, so that they know what goes into this cigar, right? So when you're smoking it, you're not just smoking it do I like it or do I not like it? Learn about that cigar that you're smoking and the person behind it and how it got to your hand. And it changes your perception on what a cigar is completely. And as we kind of wrap all this up, one, so thankful, Omar, that you're able to hop on this.
Yes, thank you.
That you said, hey, I'm going to the DR next week. You want to come? And the next thing you know, we're both there. And I got the whole... I got to see the whole...
isn't working.
Yeah. But it was a fascinating experience. It was an experience that I'll remember for the rest of my life. And I learned so much. And to me, to be able to take that knowledge and bring it back to Cigar Club and to what we're doing here is, you can't put a price tag on something like that. And Omar and us here at Cigar Club are working on some really cool cigars coming up soon. I'm smoking one of those samples now that could potentially be part of the first release of Fratello Cigar Club Exclusive. We've got some really cool stuff happening at the Hoya factory as well in Nicaragua with some cool projects we might be doing there as well. And I'm trying to get this Classico Perfecto in some boxes for the Cigar Club family. as well. Pew, I've got one for you inside.
I got one for myself.
I got one for you inside. You can smoke. You have to eat it with coconut rice, though. It's the only option.
But I'll whip up some. Let's go.
But all that to say, a lot of really cool stuff is coming for our Cigar Club family with Fratello Cigars. Omar, you're like your family here now, and you're an integral part of what we do, more so than just a business partner or somebody that we buy cigars from. You're part of what we do and part of the experience we give our customers. And for that, I'm grateful for it. And our members are going to feel that, and they're going to feel like they're a part of something, which I think is what the cigar community is all about.
Absolutely,
so thank you.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much for having me over to the Cigar Club family. Keeps on following us on Instagram and check us out on YouTube.
Where can everyone find you? Let them know.
I got mad love for all of you guys, and Dave. You hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's when things begin to happen in an organized format where it stops being so much about not only about the business aspect of it, but also the personal aspect of me connecting not only with you and your team at Cigar Club, but also your members, to have them know that they can reach out to us, ask us any questions at Fratello Cigars, or go and check out our imperfect pairings on YouTube and subscribe and give us and give us your information. How are we doing? How do you guys think that we are providing hopefully great content for everyone? But thank you so much for the invite. It means a lot, and I hope we can get a chance to do it again.
Absolutely. We will, absolutely. Well, Omar, you've been the first guest on the Cigar Club podcast.
Thank you.
And we will talk with you soon. Thanks, Omar. We appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, Omar. Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, what a story. I mean, Omar, I think that's probably one of the coolest stories that I know as far as just not even just in the cigar industry, but NASA. There's not too many people that can say they worked for NASA and then left NASA to be to start their dream. Like, that's incredible.
Yeah, the hustle aspect of it, which he didn't talk a ton on, I think, because he's not going to sit here and brag to us.
Yep.
But I mean, the guy's putting in however many hours a week it takes to work at NASA, which is definitely more than 40. Let's just start there. And then the amount of time it takes to build a cigar brand, which is also definitely more than 40. And his hustle, his drive, the motivation behind it, it's inspiring, to say the least. This has been a really cool podcast. And the fact that we're sitting on the same place, Pew. Hello.
I can see him. We can queue up things, look at each other. And I mean, to hark on that. And then within a year to have your cigar on the back of a beer pairing that you've never reached out to. And yep, that's incredible. But yeah, dude, it's great. The weather held out for us. We had a couple raindrops during that. I thought it was going to force us inside. Worked out perfect. I mean, I think it's about to take a turn for the worse, but should we come down? Are we shooting all these in Mobile?
Yeah, I know, right? This is the first one we shot since we've been here. We got another one we're hopefully shoot today, maybe some more tomorrow. Guys, in the future, we're going to see some really cool podcasts. I'm going to get Jeff and Griff on and do some roundtable discussion just on Cigar Club and what's going on. Pew and I have got a 2 Dave's 2 Palette coming up next episode, talking about smoking puritos and blending cigars.
That's a bucket list for me, and I'm really excited to try that and kind of have you walk me through what you've experienced in factories that not only but a handful of people outside of the actual being a brand owner get to experience. And yeah, that's been something that's been on my bucket list for a long time, and I'm really looking forward to that one. So you get to walk me through. I'll be your Padawan.
Yeah, which is funny because it's like you talk to someone like Omar, it's like, oh wow, Dave knows absolutely nothing, but I can tell you some of the things they've told me, and yeah, that's going to be a really fun time to sit down and do that. To everyone listening or watching on YouTube, thank you again for being here. We're still at our young phase here at the Cigar Club Podcast.
3 or 4 now?
3 or 4 episodes.
First
now.
One just went live this week. I mean, incredible. Looking for everyone's feedback and seeing how everyone enjoys it. And we're building this for our family, the Cigar Club. So give us your feedback. Let us know things that you want to see, things you want us to talk about.
Yeah, and hold on, I'm gonna let this truck stop real quick. There we go.
Adds to the ambiance.
It adds to the ambiance of the deck here in Mobile, Alabama. But anyway, guys, thank you. Make sure you like this video. Follow us on Spotify, where I believe at this point we'll be up on Apple Music as well. Make sure you download those episodes. And like Pew said, give us your feedback, whether that's a DM on Instagram or emailing david@cigarclub.com or pew@cigarclub.com. You'll probably get a quicker response from Pew.
You will.
But I'll do my best. I'm getting better. I'm getting better at this whole email thing. But thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts for listening, for being a part of this. If you want to see certain things on the show, please reach out and let us know. But it's been another great episode. Pew, thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Till next time, we look forward to keep doing these with you or for you. And it's been a blast.
Happy smoking, Cigar Club family. We will see you next week. Tuesday, baby. Peace.